Hello, and welcome to the Twin Cities Jewish Film Festival, now in its 28th year. My name is Riv Shapiro, and I'm the festival's producing director. I'm delighted to be joined today by Moshe Rosenthal, writer and director of our opening night film, Karaoke. Moshe, thank you so much for being here. And I want to
Thank you
congratulate
for having me.
you. Yeah, I want to
Yes.
congratulate you because I know this is your first feature film and it's been extremely well received. You even won the jury prize for Best Feature Film at the Jerusalem Film Festival.
Hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can you tell us about the inspiration for this film?
Um, yeah, I mean it actually was like there's no way to like hide it anymore. But like the main inspiration is my own parents. I think that like the first time that I thought about the idea for the film was my parents came back from like a wedding or something, and they asked me to find on Facebook this couple that they met there. Um, and when I searched for the couple, the pictures that came up were like very Itzik Motziano vibe to them. They had like velvet jackets, they had like colorful sunglasses, and for me, it was like it made me like laugh. It was cute. But when I looked at my parents, I saw that they were looking at this couple with such admiration and excitement that it just made me feel like really relate to them and feel like I know that feeling that they are feeling, and it really reminded me of high school. It reminded me of me as a teenager and like wanting to be close to the, coolest kid in the class. And I thought that maybe it would, I mean, maybe the right way to kind of like tell their story in many ways would be to tell my own story, like my own coming of age story, only through their perspective and only through characters in their age, in like their late 60s. And and yeah, and it was like surprisingly interesting the way that, a moment before retirement or a moment before finishing high school kind of like feels the same because it's, one step before your life completely changing. And I guess that the question that, writing the script kind of like made me realize that, the search for your own identity when you're 16 or 18 and the search for your own identity in the age of 68 is has completely different circumstances and completely different outcome. And I guess it became kind of like an exploration of like, can we change at a later stage in our life? Can our 40, 50-year-old relationship allow it? Um, so yeah, so I guess that's how it all came about.
Thank you for sharing. And how did your parents react to seeing the film?
Uh, that's like a tough question. I mean, I didn't tell them all the details. I told them that I took some inspiration from them, and they were very excited about that because they thought, that that's like a great movie that they would like to watch because it will have, the that specific representation. But while working on the film and while developing it, I realized that I might be, just like saying too much, maybe stuff that they don't want to hear about themselves, and stuff
Mm.
that they are not willing to deal with. And the more the film became, you know, emotionally consuming for me, the more I was scared to share with them how deep I went. Um, so I kind of like, I I guess that I was just waiting for the right moment for them to see it. And I think that the first time that I saw it was in the Jerusalem Film Festival, and I assumed that, that the excitement of the festival and the fact that it's this big screening with a lot of celebrities and cameras and stuff would maybe allow them like I hope that their pride in me would overcome their embarrassment in a way. Um, and yeah, and what happened is that the moment that the screening ended and I went out to look for them and to see where they are and to get their like initial response, I couldn't find them. And I was kind of like walking around between all the people and people hugging you and stuff, and I just want to see my parents. I just need to see my parents. And then I got to like there was like this like upper floor outside, and I saw like from a distance like a crowd of people, standing in a circle and like applauding and cheering. And I went there and I saw that inside the circle, my mother is dancing Greek music to them. Like
Wow.
practically, it was like a spontaneous moment of like celebration. My mother was dancing. So it kind of like I saw that and I was like, oh, I think I'm good. I think it's fine. And I guess that what's interesting that, you know, what was fine is the fact that it's not like it's not like their pride overcome their embarrassment, or it's not like they didn't get the film. It's that they really got it, and they were really satisfied with the fact that I showed also the embarrassing sides or the difficult stuff, because it's kind of like, it dealt with things that they are not usually kind of like allowed to express. So I think that I think that they accept it from like the best way possible.
Wow, I love that story so much. And so even the dancing was drawn from your parents
Of
in the
course,
movie.
the dancing, all the dresses that Tova's character is wearing in the film were taken straight from my mother's closet, including the shoes, the crocodile shoes. It's from my mother's closet.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think you're touching on something it's helpful to hear about how you drew your own parallels to being a teenager, because there is something so vulnerable about wanting to be beautiful or wanting to, be the dancer who can catch people's attention, or, Meir's coloring his hair. And it's that I think that moment where he's on set and his hair color is running
yeah,
down is like just as relatable as, a somebody stuffing their bra in middle school or
yeah,
something. It's
yeah,
very,
exactly.
very similar.
Yeah. And it captures kind of like the same tone that I like about coming of age films. That there's this, on the one hand, you immerse yourself completely in the character because it's really very relatable to be in those positions, but at the same time you're kind of like cringing, and there's like a balance between, laughing and being kind of like looking at the situation, being completely like embarrassed by it, but at the same time, just like knowing exactly what it feels like and really loving the characters for it. Like it was very
Mm-hmm.
important for me to not, make a fool out of them, like to always make sure that, we remember what they're going through. And it's not something, um, you know, uh, and it's absurd, and it could get ridiculous, but it's truthful, and it's very just like humane.
Mm-hmm. So what's it been like to play this film in the United States? Is there anything that you think audiences here react to differently?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the core of the story works very well. Hopefully, I think that as a filmmaker, I'm more American than European. So hopefully, the filmmaking itself is also very easy to kind of like catch your attention. But there's an element like I guess the more social element is kind of like harder to figure out from someone outside of Israel, because the story takes place in the Israeli suburbs, and because they're not, they don't look like the American suburbs. Like, you have your American beauties and your ice storms and all those stories about just like um I guess there's like the right way to the right terminology to say it, but like the suburbs boredom or like yeah, I mean, you probably know the name, but that and weirdly in Israel, like there was never like a local perspective on the suburbs, mainly because they don't feel like the suburbs. They feel, yeah, I mean, it's buildings, but they're very crowded and it looks very fancy and very rich, but it's completely middle class, and that's something that I feel people don't always get. Like, and then the like looking at the architecture and looking at the chandelier and the small things in the building in this world, um, you know, from like from like a local perspective, you can see that the film says a lot about you know the fact that we are, if as middle class, we are covering ourselves with like symbols of wealth, and there's something kind of like sweet about it, but also kind of like difficult, because I think it tells a lot about a strange identity crisis that the characters and this specific class going through, always feeling inferior to others, always knowing that there's somebody on the floor above them, um, and also kind of like searching for authenticity desperately. Um, so these are kind of like the themes that I didn't plan on. I wanted to make just like a personal film about my experiences and my parents, and then I started to look at the world that we are living in and the world that my specific parents live in, and then all these themes just came out, and yeah. So if you thought that the story talks about people like very rich people or people in like a very metropolitan city, no, this is like the Israeli suburbs and it's very middle class.
It's great to know. Thank you for that perspective. Do you have any long-standing dreams or ambitions hidden away, like Meir and Tova?
Of course. I mean, I think that the fear of feeling like missed your chance or you didn't use your potential or did what you really were meant to do. I think I don't know if I have my regular dreams, like to keep making films and to do it locally, but also abroad, and like the obvious dreams. But I think that like what connects me to them more than anything is the fear of not accomplishing that. Um, and also, I guess, and maybe it's more Tova's character, but also kind of like you know, um, just the burden of of being romantic, the burden of fantasizing, the burden of dreaming. I find myself sometimes feel going through a lot of pain because I have too many dreams and too many fantasies. And I think that that's something that you can easily see in Tova's character. Um, so yeah, but other than those dreams, I guess that sometimes I want to be, but who doesn't? Like, the life of the party or yeah, but that also is a dangerous game, I think. Like if we can learn anything from Itzik's character,
Right.
is that there's something very addictive in being the life of the party, and there's something very obviously narcissistic, but also just lonely, you know?
Mm. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Last question. What are you working on now?
Um, so yeah, so my next film is called Independence, and it's It's also like karaoke, very musical, very entertaining. But unlike karaoke, it's like a period piece. It takes place in 1987. And it's a story about a family, but it also deals with the I guess like the paranoia of AIDS that was in the late
Mm.
80s, but from like a child's perspective. Yeah, and it's I guess it's also a coming of age, and it's and I keep calling it a rock opera, which sounds very sexy. It's not really, but it's kind of like a rock opera.
Well, we'll be looking for it. Thank you so much
Yes.
for being here.
Thank you, and thanks to all the audience that I hope that love the film, and yeah, happy to be here.
Great. And if you're watching this, we hope you enjoy the rest of the festival. Thanks.